Hi guys, let's do this.
Can you please look up this site?
See if we can figure out something.
Okay, so Bug was very early. Jen was very early, having some nice conversations about dancing in the street and music. Bug, I hope there is music, otherwise I'm concerned. Morning, Britta. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I had a busy one, but it was beautiful. Like, absolutely. I cannot wait for you to see the vlog. I was going to show some of the things on the live, but I'm kind of tempted to, let's say most recent. I'll show you a photo and then you need to watch the vlog because I put a lot of effort in, to be honest, like, because I couldn't do the live. Let's see. One sec. This is where I was. So, hey Cam, are you new? Whoops, wrong one. This is where I was. We hiked. Morning, Steve. And then also yesterday, let me just stop sharing a second. I was with my whole family. So I'm just stopping sharing because I do have pictures of my nephews. Okay, let's do this. Yesterday I was here. So I am excited to show you guys that, but it is going to have to be a vlog. Hey, Angie. Cam's new. Everyone be kind to Cam. Cam, the only rules are really don't be spam, don't be a bot, and don't be offensive. That's pretty much it. So before I go into my recap, I'm just going to quickly show this channel, WTOL11. They're the ones that are covering this whole story. And like journalistically speaking, they're doing a phenomenal job. I will put the link in the description. But really, like, they are doing so well. And also, before I go into it, I briefly mentioned yesterday that I joined the Justice for Dee Facebook page because it kept being brought up in these prelims. And they made it sound very, like, almost sensational. And honestly, I don't see that. I don't see that at all. I think, like, I've been on a lot of missing people pages. I think it's as always, like, they're posting that, you know, the trial's coming up, what the judge might be ruling. They post when there's changes in the court dates. They, like, I don't want to show it because it's a closed group, but just an example, I'm going to read some posts as is. They say, after 4 days of pretrial, here is a judge's ruling with the link. Then they say, we will not stop. And that says breaking news. It's going to be going to the next stage. Very normal. Then there's a post that says, if you'd like to catch up, here's a link to our website with all the coverage, testimony, etc. The next one is, here's a summary of what happened yesterday. There is, like, as far as I can see, I haven't scrolled the whole way down. There is nothing that would make me worry from a journalist perspective. I think that they may have overshot it a bit. So here's just a short, I need to just put this up, sorry. Here's a short overview, and then I'll tell you the recap of the preliminary hearings.
A Lenawee County man pleaded not guilty to his wife's murder 2 years after her disappearance. Dee Warner's husband, Dale Warner, was arraigned on murder and tampering with evidence charges from jail today. He pleaded not guilty to both charges. We talked to Dee's brother, Greg Hardy, about the case and the fact that Michigan does not have the death penalty should Dale be found guilty.
Well, that's the best I could get. I mean, that's the most I could get. Recognizing that there is no death penalty in Michigan. And in some cases, I would be a law and order person that would believe there should be. But it is what it is.
Warner's attorney asked for him to be released on bond. The judge said no for now, but will hold a bond hearing Monday morning to revisit the request. Christy Gurlette breaks down the case from the time Dee disappeared in April of 2021 to Dale's arraignment today.
April 25th, 2021. Warner's friend says she saw her drop off her daughter. Court documents show Warner told her friend she was going to meet her husband, Dale. Family and friends worked with police in the following days to find the missing 52-year-old wife and mother, but they never found her.
As time goes on, we are more and more concerned about her safety.
At that time, the sheriff said Warner didn't have her cell phone, and investigators were watching social media for any potential evidence. Months passed, and still nothing. Lenawee County Sheriff Troy Bevere brought in federal agencies to help in October of 2021.
This is a kind of a cumulative culmination of all of the information that we got over the summer and that we've gotten either through tips or investigation. We brought in a lot of help. We brought in partners from FBI, Michigan State Police, and DNR.
Nearly 1 year later, after her disappearance, police issued new search warrants. Warner's family offered a $50,000 reward for anyone who could help find her remains.
Working together, creating some harmony in that, I think is going to be very, very important. And I think we could get closer than we've been in a long time.
Her family worked tirelessly alongside local and federal agencies, and even hired a private detective in the spring of 2022.
We came up with a game plan for how to approach the case from a bunch of different angles. The civil case, the wrongful death case, is just one of the angles.
Billboards popped up to keep Warner's face and name in the public eye, and the community hasn't forgotten. Something Warner's family is thankful for to this day.
To have the support through these times is something we could never thank people enough for. Feels awesome.
In September of last year, Warner's family petitioned for the courts to declare her legally dead.
Something has happened here that's dreadfully wrong, and somebody has to be responsible for it, and we think we know who that is. And so when we get to that point, and that actually takes place, that will be the justice point. But not till then. Not till then at all.
Early this fall, Dee's family attempts to declare her officially deceased so they can control her assets and file a wrongful death lawsuit against her husband. It's then we learn that Michigan State Police believe she is dead and that Dale is their only person of interest. In September, a judge rules Dale is in contempt of court.
Sorry, just pausing there. So important to point out, given what I just said about Justice for Dee, that it was not the Justice for Dee Facebook page that brought him up as a person of interest or as a suspect. It was authorities.
Stating he intentionally and deliberately sold his wife's assets after being instructed by the court not to, still maintaining his innocence in her disappearance.
Mr. Warner doesn't know what happened to his wife. I mean, he maintains his innocence. He's maintained his innocence since this first happened back in April of 2021.
Still today.
Still today. He doesn't know what happened to his wife. He did nothing wrong.
Fast forward to Tuesday. Michigan State Police believe they know the person responsible and arrest Dale, charging him with murder and tampering with evidence. In the courtroom Wednesday morning, Dale is silent.
He has no emotion. And just by his acts, you can tell that he is completely intent with what he did. but he'll never admit it. In his mind, he's believing his own lie, his own story. And he's had to program himself that way to do that in order to survive, I guess you could call it.
Dale Warner will have a bond.
Okay, so then that brings us to where we are now. But first, let me catch up with the messages. Also, that is what was being done last week. It's been painted black. Eventually, I do hope to do my like mural vibes on it, but let's be realistic. It took me 4 years to start a podcast. I don't know if that'll happen. And I need to put all the pictures back and then carry on with trying to find the most ergonomical way to set this situation up. Also, I look so tiny. I am tiny, but like I haven't got the camera in the right place. So I'm sorry. Hey, Donald. Hey, Ramondo. Did I miss anything else? Cam is from Auckland, New Zealand. New Zealand is way on the top of my bucket list. But sadly, it is very expensive for a South African. Cam, since you're new here, I'm South African, Cape Town. I am a semi-retired journalist. I say retired because I write for a YouTube crime channel now. Not this one. I have a day job. This is my lunch break. But I used to be a journalist locally, and I don't know what else. I can't remember what else. Yeah, I can't remember. Okay, so now to my recap. Obviously, ChatGPT helped me with this because we watched how many hours. So the first person was the former son-in-law, Brian. He was married to Dale and Dee's daughter. So not the daughter that we heard testify. They were married for 8 years. He got on well with Dale. He didn't get on that well with Dee. Hold up. Pause. Is everyone on the same page for where we're at up to this point? Was there anything missing from their timeline that I should know about? Love this one long hair. Love that for me. While I wait, I also just want to mention that today is going to be one of those days where I've lined the videos up so that they can keep playing without me, because I will have to really put my head down from 2, and then I've got a call at 3:30. So also if I just end the live stream without saying goodbye, you know that I got into super hyper focus, and yeah. Sitting in South Africa, I think I'm going to disagree. We are so lucky to be here, and I think a lot of untapped potential in South Africa. Okay, I'm going to carry on the recap to save time. So on Brian. Brian did not get along that well with Dee, depending on her mood. He said that she was quite temperamental. She was quite unpredictable. It made the household atmosphere a bit strange. Brian dealt with electrical problems in Dee's car. He also did diagnostic tools, and then, under Dale's instruction, set up GPS trackers. So Dale said that, or Dale or Brian, it's kind of unclear who it's coming from, but apparently it was to diagnose the electrical problems. I don't believe that. That's my opinion so far, based on what I've seen. And Dale also asked Brian to buy a safe to replace one that had important documents and money. So it seems like Dale was worried about financial mismanagement, which does come up a bit later in the company kind of politics, I guess. Dale had a lot of arguments with Dee about money, according to Brian, including up to one on April 25th, and she disappeared on, let me just get my dates right. She disappeared sometime between April 24th and April 25th. So I remember when Brian said that, I was like, okay, but if they had that argument that day, I'm pretty sure that Dale has been saying he didn't see her that day, that she was just sleeping. Dale was allegedly tracking Dee because of the electrical thing, but he also installed a camera in the kitchen to monitor when she came and went. And on April 25th, Brian got a call from Dale that said that Dee and him had an argument, and then he jumped in to help search for her. Next, we had Kyle, who was an IT worker at their business. He did the network server, blah, blah, boring computer things. He also installed and maintained the surveillance cameras on computers and phones and on the property. All of this was allegedly for safety and, you know, the usual arguments. Dale actually asked Kyle to clone Dee's iPhone without her knowing. Kyle didn't do it. He said he didn't agree with it. And after Dee disappeared, Dale asked Kyle to change passwords and give him access to things. I don't know if Dale did. I mean, if Kyle did, that's not said here, but he did give Dale access to the camera system after Dee went missing and said that there had been an issue with their internet services. Kyle also said that Dale was allegedly concerned about money going missing. Then we had their same company and another employee, Todd, who was in charge of trucking and handling customers and drivers. And he said that his last interaction with Dee was on the 23rd, so 2 days before. She was frazzled. She was upset. He spoke to her on April 24th, the night before, and she was upset and, quote, unreasonable. On Sunday morning, the house lights and TV were on. Dee's car was parked outside when he arrived early that morning, the day she was missing. Also, with the company operations, Dee had told him that she had financial concerns, not Dale. Dee told him. And just before she disappeared, 2 years before their relationship had become a bit tense, don't know why. He knew about the surveillance cameras, and he also said that she had taken him to the hospital for medical issues, but she was also having medical issues herself. Then we had the daughter, who you just saw in the timeline video I played, and she was very close. Dee was very close to her grandkids. Her daughter, Raquel, was worried about the relationship with Dale. They were constantly fighting. Dee had apparently told Raquel that he might hurt her, and Dee was also struggling with health issues like migraines, depression, and high blood pressure. Raquel found Dee's ring on Dale's desk, or she found it odd that it was on Dale's desk because Dee never removed her wedding ring. Is everybody keeping up? I'm not even looking at the comments because I'm just going through this. It's quite long. Then we had the friend Amy Alexander, who said that she was very close to Dee, obviously, and Dee was overwhelmed and she was scared. She wanted to divorce Dale. Dee had health issues, and it became more predominant during the strained relationship times. Then we had a phone analyst, a forensic analyst who looked at Dee's iPhone, and Find My iPhone was activated multiple times on April 25th, so that goes along with her being missing. Milestone, which I don't know what that is, also connected on that day, and My Cadillac was last used on April 25th. And then the engineer for General Motors who looked at the GPS system said that there were unexpected trips and stops that didn't match Dee's usual routes. Her vehicle was stopped in unusual places for extended periods of time. Something could be weird there. And he did analysis of patterns in her routines to figure that out. Okay, everyone caught up? Let me know if you're not. I'll pop back again. Then we have a cell phone records analyst, Georgia. The last network interaction was on April. Oh, got a fright. The wind's obviously blowing my door. Georgia looked at the call logs and location. The last network interaction was on April 25th. So her phone was not answered. At some point, that's the day she was allegedly missing. But there were also interactions with 2 towers near their home. So it narrowed down the location. There was a significant increase in calls going to voicemail on April 25th. That's nothing new. She was reported missing. Massage therapist. This was a bit of a weird one. Defense was a little bit like odd about her, but basically she had seen lots of bruises on Dee, and it seemed to be from fighting with Dale. Dee was also very upset during their last session, said that she might be looking for a lawyer, and sometimes confided in Stacey about having physical confrontations with Dale. Then another employee, but at DDW Investments, which was another company, she said Dee was meticulous and hands-on, very involved, and Dee was looking into financial discrepancies. So now we have Dale telling people there's financial problems and Dee saying there's financial problems, but the two of them seemingly being secretive about it with each other. And Stephanie also said that Dee and Dale were fighting about business management and financial things. The lead case investigator, which there's another 2 hours, 25 of him that we need to watch, he talked about how they went to look for her. We watched the body cam there, surveillance footage. He spoke about who he had investigated with witnesses, made buddies with Dale. That's one thing that stuck out to me. And then I did a summary of what points to it could be Dale. So surveillance and control, GPS tracking. Dale had wanted to track her. Then there were the cameras. He wanted exclusive access to it. He cloned Dee's phone. Behavioral and emotional state, according to witnesses, they were fighting a lot. She was wanting to divorce. Like I said last time, the most dangerous time in an abusive relationship is when you're leaving. Her massage therapist had seen bruises on her, so that was kind of pointing some things out there. There were the financial problems going on, and who actually was the rightful person to be worried. It's weird that they were divided on that. Physical evidence. There's lots of witness testimonies that Dee was upset just before, and digital evidence. Oh, sorry. Dee's iPhone had lots of activity on the morning of April 25th. So that's the last time she's seemingly known to be there. Her phone was probably unattended. If she had just left, I don't know if she would have done that. Dale wanted to change all the passwords. The vehicles had unusual trips. So that's what is pointing it was him. Here's where there's evidence suggesting it might not have been him. There's no physical evidence. There's no blood. There's no DNA. There's no weapon. There's no body, as far as I know. There's been no eyewitness accounts of Dale being violent. So there's kind of third party, but there's not eyewitness. And the potential alternate explanations is she had major health problems and she may have left voluntarily. You know, the rest of that. She was really stressed out. Same story as the health problems. No history of extreme violence. When they did have arguments, there's no proof that he was actually violent towards her. It was just verbal arguments. And Brian had installed the GPS tracker and helped monitor, but then said there hadn't been any physical assaults or anything like that. It was all, he was doing it for good reason. Dee had been very secretive about her phone and her keys. So that could potentially mean that she just left on her own. She was investigating a lot of financial things. Perhaps something was going on there. Dale was looking into financial things quite secretively. Something going on there potentially. Then Dale's cooperated with law enforcement. Sounds like he didn't, because there was a there was that contempt of court. But anyway, and it seems like from some of the employees' perspective, perhaps he was just trying to double down on business-related things. So that's where we're at now. Let me catch up on comments. You're talking about a keto diet. Okay. Milestone is a corrupt computer program used by surveillance cameras. Interesting. So Cam, since you're new here, you may not have been over to Recovery Addicts channel, but over there we are watching Karen Reed, and I don't know if I accidentally went ahead on a different channel's review, but basically I was watching a lawyer break it down, and there's some very interesting points brought up about surveillance tactics, where they could be wrong, etc. I'd rather listen to you narrate this case than watch it. Thanks, guys. I think my throat would die. Your hair still looks good today. How do you do it day after? Okay, so that's easy. Basically, I got a spray bottle, like a normal water spray bottle, and I put a little bit of hair oil and a little bit of leave-in conditioner that's got like curl holding properties in it, ingredients, and then I just spray it and put it up in a towel, like scrunched up, and then I just keep doing this a lot. Yeah, so Bug, when I decided to do curly girl, I had to cut my hair, and I had to cut it for someone who is going to be lazy about it, because I'm not doing the whole like twisting, not doing that. So it works whenever I remember to do so. That's also why my go-to is sometimes just having it tied up, because also my fringe, like I trimmed my fringe this morning and it's still not short enough. Okay, so we're at 1:30. So I have about 30 minutes left, and this video that I want to show, Nicole Anderson. Sorry. That is 30 minutes. So we're going to do this. Oh, did anyone catch the drama in Canton yesterday? Turtle Boy and his girlfriend had dinner at the first bar KR and group went to that night, not Waterfall, and ran into a bunch of Alberts. I'm always so tempted to, like, I really want to cover the whole independent journalism thing going on there, because I think I have a decent perspective, but that one person, whose name starts with a letter after K, I just can't have the trolls. Like, oh, this big thing. I reached the milestone on YouTube. However, it now takes 2 weeks for them to approve part 2 and a month to approve the next thing. So I may only have memberships in 6 weeks to 8 weeks. A little disappointing. But what I was going to say is, like, I'm very hesitant to say anything about that side, because they can be really trolly and bullyish, and I just think my channel's too much of a baby channel to have that kind of situation. And like I said, I have a day job. I can't be monitoring stuff like that. Raymondo, that's relating to the Karen Reed trial. So, yeah. I just want it to be over. I'm so bored of it now, but like I can't stop watching. Anyway, let's go back to our trial because there's less drama. No, I need to be tiny in the corner like that.
Raise your right hand, please. Do
you swear to affirm that you will tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, have a seat. Speak directly into the microphone. Spell your first and last name, please.
Okay, first name Nicole, Nikole. Anderson, Anderson.
Good morning, I think. Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I need you to speak really loud here today, okay?
Okay,
All right. Ms. Anderson, where are you employed?
I am employed with the Michigan State Police.
And what do you do with the Michigan State Police?
I am a criminal intelligence analyst and I work out of the Michigan Intelligence Operations Center.
Okay, what is a criminal intelligence analysis?
No, that's okay. A criminal intelligence analyst works alongside law enforcement officers, particularly investigators, and we assist them on case support, anywhere from providing attempt to locate, cellular analysis. We're given data and we interpret that information for investigators and prepare it for court, for instance, for court, or just for providing investigative leads.
Okay, and how long have you been doing this?
I've been a criminal intelligence analyst for over 8 years now.
Okay, and what types of programs do you use to accomplish what you've just described?
So we have an assortment of different tools and databases that we have access to. We have law enforcement databases, we have commercialized databases, we have analytical tools that allow us to produce products such as timelines, charts, cell phone analysis, mapping, etc. along those lines.
Okay, and can you tell me this is going to sound like a stupid question. Is there a fixed number of programs that are available to you?
It really depends. I mean, I have access, and each analyst is different depending on their different genre that they're working in. For instance, we have narcotics analysts, so they'll have more narcotic related databases. For me, I have anywhere from law enforcement databases that will look into reports across the state. For Michigan, I have fusion center abilities, which allows me to communicate with different fusion centers across the nation to get into their databases, law enforcement databases. I also have commercialized tools that allow me to look at information that companies buy to provide more intelligence related information.
Do you work with other agencies to accomplish this?
I do. Yep. As I mentioned, I work with other fusion centers, which have other state agencies.
What is fusion? What does that mean? What is fusion centers?
So fusion centers are, every state has at least one, and it encompasses state, local, and federal partners, law enforcement partners. And we work collaboratively to produce intelligence products and share information.
Okay. And is this something, so you say state, local, and federal, is this something that, when you say state, does every state have to be involved in it? Do they pick and choose? How does that work?
So there's a lot of legalities with it, but each state was mandated by Homeland Security to have a fusion center where it houses law enforcement partners, specifically federal partners that are like included the FBI, Homeland Security, DEA, but then there's also state police that are also included in that, where we'll have state police partners that sit in the fusion center, like myself. And then we have local partners such as Lansing Police, or breaking it down to deputy level, that all kind of work collaboratively.
Okay, at some point in time, were you asked to become involved in the case of Dee Warner?
I was.
Okay, what were you asked to do?
I was tasked with providing a database check that would look into any kind of pattern of life activity using the resources and databases that I have access to.
And when was the first time that you were contacted?
May of 2021.
And between May of 2021 and today, how many times have you done the particular thing that you've described?
Yes, I have done these database checks at least once a year to the current date today.
Okay. And do you recall when the last time you created a report was?
Yes, I completed this database check in April of 2024. So just recently.
Okay, Your Honor, may I approach the witness? I've handed you people's proposed exhibit 18. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and what is that?
This is the document that I was referring to in which I completed multiple database checks.
Okay, let's talk about each database check that you did, okay?
Sure.
What's the first, I don't mean first in time, I just mean, I want to go kind of in a chronological order on what you have listed. So what's the first check that you do?
So you mean going down this list, explaining
Please.
each database?
Please.
Okay. So the first that I'm looking at that I completed on this database list is called Clemis. I'll generalize what it says instead of reading it verbatim.
Please.
Okay. So Clemis is a law enforcement database that is particular to Oakland County's law enforcement management information system. And that's going to pull reports or citations, including traffic citations within Oakland County.
Okay.
Would you like me to continue?
Yeah, when you say within Oakland County, is that, so only things that occurred within Oakland County will come up on Clemis?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
With Clemis.
Okay, and what was the result of that?
No information was located.
Anything else with Clemis?
Nope. I did the checks for Dee Warner, including her name, date of birth, and social security.
Okay.
And then next on that, would you like me to continue?
Yes, please.
Is our EASIS, which is Michigan State Police Law Enforcement database, in which we house our reports and any kind of interaction that we come across that a person would be cited in a report.
Okay, can you
And-
explain that a little bit better to me?
Yeah, it's just the reporting document system that we have.
Okay.
It's where reports are held.
Okay, and so anytime, what were you looking for when you were searching that?
To see if Dee Warner had any police or Michigan State Police interaction, if she was a witness or a victim or et cetera, she would be noted in our report system.
Okay, and what were your results of that?
That was also no information was located.
Okay, what's the next thing you checked?
Epic, which is essentially another Fusion Center tool. It's a federal tool that we can access as Fusion Center to inquire if a individual has crossed the border or has left the country. That was just me inquiring with them. So I did not do the search. I inquired it to the Fusion Center, Epic Fusion Center, and that also came back negative.
Okay, when you say,
I'm going to object that if she didn't do the search on Epic, then it would not be within
Okay.
her personal knowledge.
she's allowed to indicate whether she received a result back or not.
Then it would be based on hearsay.
Okay, so you received no result on
I
it.
received no result from
Oh.
Epic.
Okay, so you, what information do you provide for that one to get a response back?
Yes. Per their request on their end, they ask for the name, date of birth, and social security number.
Okay, do you provide any photographs or anything like that?
Negative.
Okay, not for Epic?
Not for Epic.
Okay. What's the next thing you do?
Facial recognition, and there's two categories that I have on this chart here. The first is our facial recognition system for the state police. I submitted the inquiry to them to do a facial recognition search. Excuse me. And I provided two photographs, Dee Warner's latest driver's license photo and her recent social media photo.
When you say social media photo, what do you recall where that came from?
Yes, it was her Facebook account
Okay,
that it was
and
provided to me.
and was it the driver's license in Michigan
Correct.
state issued?
Yep.
Okay, all right. And when you say you sent that to Michigan State Police, did that go to anybody else?
It went to, her name is Jennifer Kostlin. She is our partner over in SNAP who runs these facial recognition programs
Okay.
and ran the photograph for Dee Warner.
Okay, and so for these facial recognition programs, where does that reach? Does that question make sense? Like, is it only in the state of Michigan, only in Lebanon County?
So for this first part, I had her just run it through the state of Michigan. She then provided it or ran it through their nationwide system. She provided a little synopsis for me to give me exact number of images that are comprised of for this. But essentially it's ran through the FBI. They have a database that runs these photos for the states that opt into that.
Okay.
The second part that I ran of facial recognition search through was the states that do not run or work with this program with the FBI. And I had to go individual with each state to have them run it through their state facial recognition system.
Okay, can you describe exactly what that facial recognition program is?
I can't speak to the technology of that. I did work personally with Jennifer in our section. She asked that I send her Dee Warner's information. So again, her date of birth, the case number, her social security, but then also the two photographs. And she's the one that takes those photographs and runs it in their facial recognition system.
Okay. And did you receive any results?
Every year that I've ran it up until now, the results have been negative. I'm still waiting for other states to communicate back with me for this year. But since the first year, 2021, that I've ran these facial recognition requests, I have been getting negative results.
Okay, so you redid this, you said on what date?
I think you gave me the date here. April, yep, 24th was, I submitted all the requests to bid, or excuse me, to facial recognition.
Okay, and so when you say every year, but this year, you've got no results, is that just based on the fact that you haven't received results yet?
Correct,
Do you
yes.
have, okay, I just.
Yep.
Okay, and what's the next thing that you do?
So next I ran some checks through LEAN, which is the Law Enforcement Information Network System. It's a statewide computerized information system, and it provides and maintains a computerized filing system of accurate and timely documented criminal justice information readily available to all criminal justice agencies. So I ran Dee Warner again, her identity through LEAN, and received negative results.
Okay, to pop up on LEAN, so if I'm searching for Dee Warner and I find her on LEAN, tell me how I'm gonna find her on LEAN.
Well, there's many different reasons she could be in LEAN. If there's a warrant active, if she had a traffic violation, if she was arrested, her Secretary of State information could also be housed in that. There's quite an assortment of different information that could be found there. Essentially, that's what I was looking for, though.
Okay, and what were the results on that?
Negative.
Okay. Next thing.
Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, EBT, that's Bridge Card. So essentially, I was looking to see if Dee Warner had filed for any state assistance through Bridge Card, and that was negative.
Okay.
And then next was Michigan Department of Driver's License and Vehicle Registration. We have another system in which we can check to see if she's applied for a recent driver's license or if she had registered for any vehicles, and that was negative.
Okay, so when you say the Michigan Department of State, do you get notification if there's an out-of-state driver's license that was applied for?
Not in this case. Okay. This was just Michigan-based.
Okay. And I apologize, did you tell me what the results were about?
They were negative.
Okay. And the next thing.
Michigan Unemployment Agency benefits. This was me submitting a request to see if her social security number had flagged any unemployment or employment salary. And that came back as negative.
All right. Next thing.
Index. This is another database. It's a federal database. It provides criminal justice agencies with an online tool for sharing, searching, linking, and analyzing information across jurisdictional boundaries, a national repository of criminal justice records submitted by agencies from around the nation. Index enables users to connect the dots between data on people, places, and things that may seem unrelated in order to link investigations and investigators.
Can you explain that?
Yes, I wanted to read it out loud that way so I could break it down a little, but it's another, I'll call it a Fusion Center database that I have access to. And it's Fusion Center because it's a federal database. So I think it's ran, or I'm certain it's ran by the FBI. But it's essentially agencies throughout the nation that opt into this database, and allows you to see if a subject has been arrested. It would show booking information. It would show if there was a traffic crash. Again, these are for agencies that opt into this. So I can't be certain how many agencies have been, but it is nationwide. So it was a good agent or a good database to check in this circumstance.
Okay.
And it was negative.
Next thing.
Oh, yes. BSNA Online. These are public record searches that allow title companies, realtors, and other interested parties to view municipal information from a variety of BSNA software applications used by that municipality. I searched Dee Warner in Lenawee County to see if there had been any changes in any taxes or property that she had bought or sold. And from the time that I started these searches in 2021 till today, or until April 4th or 24th, 2024, it was negative.
Okay.
Next
tip.
Clear and TLO, which is listed on the bottom of this list, they're very similar. They're those commercialized databases that companies buy, companies will buy people's personal information pertaining to credit card information, mortgages, cars registered, and they're pulling from different different platforms and different systems, if you will, to get that information. And for both TLO and Clear, they were negative.
Okay. So under Clear, one of the results has a linked address.
Yes.
What does that mean?
When I ran Dee Warner and Clear, it originally had looked like she had been linked to this address that I provided. Through further analysis and asking the detective to follow up on it, it was found that her son, Zachary Bach, is a real estate agent. And so that's how it linked Dee Warner to that address, because obviously it's her son and it also provides associates. So we were able to deduce that that's where that address had been provided.
Okay, so Clear, just so I understand, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
That's okay.
Clear and TLO will also give you results of people associated with Dee Warner?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
and so do you have to do further checking into those items?
Yes. Yep. And that's why when I saw that she had been linked to a recent address, I followed up with Detective Sergeant and had them look into that.
Okay. All right. What's the next thing you did?
JDW, which is the Judicial Data Warehouse. This is essentially just a court housing station that provides court proceedings, and it's statewide, depending on which agencies opt into that as well. And that was also negative.
Okay. Next thing.
Leads Online provides access to transactions from thousands of reporting businesses. These are your pawn shop businesses. This is also nationwide, so I'm able to see if the subject that I'm looking for had any kind of transactions with pawn shops, and if she sold or bought something, or they sold or bought something, I could be able to see that through this database.
What were the results?
Negative in this case.
Next thing.
NICB. Law enforcement, criminal justice, and regulatory agency personnel may obtain online access to ISO Claim Search, the world's largest database of property casualty claims. This database includes property casualty claims, data on property, automobiles, physical damage, theft, etc. This is a database that if someone wants to claim an insurance claim, this would be a database that we could check.
Okay.
And that came back negative.
All right.
Next is NPLEX. This was not applicable to this case because it's a narcotics database for people who want to buy over-the-counter medications to create methamphetamine. I'm not able to run that search because there's no drug nexus in this situation.
Perfect.
And then last, I mentioned the TLO is another one of those commercialized databases, very similar to Clear, and that was negative.
Do any of the databases that you check deal with fingerprints?
Not to my knowledge. No.
Okay. What about Lean?
Well, Lean, yes. My apologies. I stand corrected. Lean would check for fingerprints based on the search that you're doing.
Okay. If somebody were to be unidentified in a hospital or even deceased, I don't know, and that you were able to get a fingerprint from them, would that pop up as a hit for you when you search?
Because Dee Warner was missing, or she's labeled as missing, and Lean, it should, from my understanding, indicate that there's been a fingerprint linked to her if her fingerprints were in the database to begin with.
Okay. The report number 18 that I've handed you, You're the one that created that report?
This one here?
Yes.
Correct, yes.
And it's in the same condition as you gave it to me?
Correct, yes.
Okay, I'd move to admit People's Proposed 18.
Yes, Your Honor, it's a report made by law enforcement. And therefore, I would object to it coming in. It was made in anticipation of litigation.
People's Proposed Exhibit 18 is admitted for consideration.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson, my name is Mary Chartier, and I have some questions for you today.
Okay.
I want to start off with where you left off, which is about lien. So lien is something that you can access because you're a law enforcement analyst, correct?
Correct.
That's not accessible to the general public?
Correct.
And that has information in there. It sounds like you said things about like arrests, charges, warrants, that sort of stuff, right?
Correct.
And then you said also with fingerprints, there, explain to me, because I'm not sure how that would work with fingerprints.
I will be honest, I'm not thoroughly knowledgeable about the fingerprints component. So I'm not going to speak to that.
Okay, but you did speak to a little bit on direct,
bit.
right? So you said that there, if fingerprints were in the system, it would hit, but now you're
If it was a
indicating
match,
if there was a match.
that would be my understanding.
Okay, has that ever happened?
Not for me.
Not for you. And how
Correct.
long have you been doing this?
8 to 10 years.
8 to 10 years? Okay. So you theoretically, you think it could happen. I just want to make sure I understand your testimony, but it hasn't happened for you, correct? And you don't really know how that works.
Not the technology part behind it.
Okay. Going to the clear portion of your report, it says recent linked address of 14140 Church Road in Hudson, and then it has a time frame of 10/31/2021 to 4/21/2024. What's that time range relate to?
The commercialized database is showing that Dee was linked to that address starting from that date to that date. So when I searched this database, it was showing that this address had her being linked to it from 10/31/2021. And I believe when I searched it was the 4/21/24. So it was an active, she was still linked to that address.
And then it says linked to son Zachary Christopher Bach. Does the report, is that what the report tells you, or that's what a detective sergeant told you?
So when I click on that address, because it allows me to click on it and it will open up and show you everyone that's ever been associated to that address based on what Clear provides. It did show that Zachary Christopher Bach was associated to that address.
As a realtor, or excuse me, a real estate agent for that address?
The database did not tell me if he was a realtor.
Okay, so you don't know, I would just want to be clear, you don't know what his affiliation is with the address.
Nope, but after speaking to the detective, I had him clarify how he was linked to that address.
Okay, how was he linked to that address?
I think he owns that property.
Okay, Mr. Bach owns that property and Ms. Warner is associated with it because Mr. Bach
Is her
owns
son.
that property. Are there other results? Because she has other children who my understanding is at least one, I believe, owns property.
Mhm.
So was she associated with those other addresses as well?
Not that I had seen.
In this report, it doesn't indicate that. But what about, you said you started in May of 2021 and you checked it at least annually. What about in the other reports?
It was the same indication. There was no additional and newer information to share.
So is it fair to say that at least for this clear portion, the only link that has been shown is this one in relation to her son, Zach Bach?
That I was able to identify, yes.
And then there have been no other links in prior reports?
From what I was able to identify, yes.
Okay, terrific. And then also you said Clear is a private database.
Correct.
Only as good as the information that goes into it, right?
Correct.
And that's probably the same for all of this, correct? It's only as good as what the database shows.
Sure.
Who comes up with the database descriptions? They talk about things that are cutting edge and everything. Who comes up with that?
This was command approved, so someone on my command staff collaborated to create this template.
Collaborated with who?
Another analyst.
And not you?
Correct.
Why did you start off with Oakland County? Now, this looks like the database might be in alphabetical order,
Mhm.
but why check Oakland County?
Because it's a a law enforcement database that I have access to, so we were going to check it.
I guess my question is there any association between Ms. Warner and Oakland County, or this is just a standard part of what you check?
It's a standard part of what I check.
It sounds like all of these are standard for you.
Yes.
And many of them seem to be law enforcement related. Somebody at MDOC, JPay, which is the email system, right? With Michigan Department of Corrections. So if someone wants to email someone in there, if someone's not emailing a prisoner, they're not going to pop up on JPay, correct?
Can you repeat that question?
Sure. So JPay is communication with folks at the Michigan Department of Corrections, correct?
Correct, yes.
And so if someone is not communicating with someone at MDOC, they're not going to pop up on JPay.
It's not just communication. It also provides transactions. So it could be anything from financial transactions to attempts to communicate. So it's not going to just show the actual transaction or the communication that happened, but attempts as well.
So I just want to be clear though, JPay has its limitations. Unless you are either helping someone in prison by providing them money or trying to communicate, they're not popping up on JPay, right?
Correct.
The facial recognition that you spoke about, are there flaws in that system?
I cannot speak to that. I don't know, or excuse me, I can't speak to the technology of that. So I can't answer that necessarily.
What is it running through to say, okay, there's a hit on facial recognition? So what is being recorded and what's that database look like?
So facial recognition is going to search booking photos, Secretary of State, driver's license photos. The FBI also has that compiled database that's also searching. It says here 63 million images comprised of, as I mentioned, the Secretary of State photos, the booking photos.
Okay, so Secretary of State photos, booking photos. Are there cameras on the street where they're getting people's faces and then they're running it? This is part of the facial recognition database?
I can't, like I said, speak to the technology. My understanding is from when I've gotten results back, some agencies do provide social media postings or news postings if they're in an article. But from when I ran the database search when I ran the request for facial recognition, it came back negative.
Okay, so booking photos, Secretary of State photos, some you say have social media, some may have news if someone is interviewed by a reporter, correct?
Correct, yes.
April 2021, well, you started running it in May of 2021, correct?
I submitted the request then, yes.
When you are submitting them, let's say you're doing it annually. So you submit in May of 2021, and then let's say you submit the other one in May of 2022. Is that May of 2022 one covering the same portion of time that you previously submitted, or is it only from your last check?
My understanding is it's running it across the board. There isn't really like a time frame that you submit or a request for. It's just searching in general for those pictures or the facial recognition.
Do you know how many people wouldn't show up and this might be a question you can't answer, but how many people wouldn't show up in the database? So someone, for example, doesn't have a driver's license, never been arrested, so they don't have a booking photo, they don't own property. Do you know how many people would not be captured by this sort of analysis?
I would not be able to speak to that. My understanding is they would have to have some kind of digital footprints if it's social media facial recognition, or as I mentioned, they could be noted in a news article, but I have I cannot answer that question.
Sure. And then for the border crossing, which you were talking about, what is that checking for?
That would be looking for if someone had a passport and they're trying to go on vacation, let's say out of the country, if they've crossed the border to Canada, because we live in Michigan, that's pretty common.
And you're not saying that that's foolproof, correct? Because I see on the news people are coming and going and there's supposedly a big border crisis. So you're not saying that is a foolproof system, correct?
Well, for searching for her identity, I used specifically her name and date of birth and social security. So that was checked thoroughly, but I cannot say whether or not that is foolproof either way.
Okay. And the end result here is you run this report at least once a year, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And then this report gives you no information about where Ms. Warner is, correct?
Repeat that question?
Sure. So this report doesn't tell you anything about where Ms. Warner is, right?
Correct.
You're not getting up on the stand and purporting to have any personal knowledge of that, correct?
Correct.
You just run her information through the databases, prepare a report, and then you got called to testify as a witness.
I was tasked with doing this database search, correct?
No additional questions. Thank you, ma'am.
When you discuss the facial recognition piece, do you know if those are also at the airports or other ports of travel?
I cannot speak to where the facial recognition cameras are or anything along those lines.
Okay. And you were asked if you know where Miss Warner is. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And based on your research, do you see any signs that Miss Warner is anywhere?
No, based on my search on this.
But objection, right? She's based on the databases. There's no indication of where Miss Warner is not. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Based on my search with these databases, I did not find any information that would indicate I know where her location is.
Thank you.
No, that response is what I was looking for. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Put me face up. What did I want to say? I don't mind the chat back and forth with health supplements and whatnot at all. I do just want to say that before you try anything, please ask your doctor, because there's a lot of weird things that I have. The lighting's gone so weird that I have contraindications. Is that the word I'm looking for? With some of my meds. So just double check, because it could be like everybody can have it and not me. And then the other thing I wanted to say is 45 minutes recovery addicts going live. So what I found is I found a pro se hearing. I've linked the channel that I'm going to play it for. Play it from. I've linked them in the description. If you can just go like send them some love. I watch it a lot. It's called Old Squishy Gardener Court Watch. And yeah, they got cool stuff. So this is 34 minutes, so that should take us almost perfectly now. Oh, and like one thing I wanted to mention with the supplements is, like, for example, if you're, just put myself back in the corner there, if you're on ADHD meds, you can't have vitamin C. It stops the absorption. And then also there's some that might have like a stimulant effect, and you're going to have heart palpitations, and you can have all sorts of heart issues. So yeah, just be careful. I think the only ones I'm allowed to take is iron and vitamin B spray. Old Squishy Gardener Court Watch. I know, the first time I saw them, I was like, I don't know what this is about, but I suspect that they started their channel much like me, doing something and then got hooked on this. Okay, so let's go. This is the same judge. Wait a minute. Okay, there is audio. I'm gonna have to move. Oh, also, I'm going to be focusing, so please be good.
Court calls the case of the people versus Eric Vermeulen.
And Assistant Public Defender Brian J. Craig on behalf of Mr. Eric Vermeulen. Sir, will you please unmute yourself and state your name for the record, please?
He was here. Eric. Eric Vermeulen. Oh.
There it goes. Okay, I'm here.
Eric, okay.
Yeah,
He's
the
here.
phone trouble. I'm sorry about that.
All
Thank
right.
you, Your Honor. It's set for pretrial today, Your Honor.
Real quick.
Hold on, sir. Just let me set the stage for what we're going to do today. His technical issues with communications preceded today's hearing, Your Honor. I was unable to speak to him by telephone, but I'm glad he is here. This is a driving while license suspended matter. Would the court be so kind to tell us if Mr. Vermeulen has a valid license at this time?
Of course not. Well, it's funny because his license says it's still suspended.
It is.
Okay.
Okay. See, if I may say something, maybe you could understand what's going on. Between court, 4 arraignments, 3 pretrials now. So much for a speedy trial, right? Anyhow, over a year now they've been messing with me, and I think they're trying to make me forget evidence or something. I don't know what's going on, but
who's trying to make you do that? The Saline Court?
Well, over a year now. I mean, 3 pre-trials. They're trying to get me to plea on something that I told them I don't want to plea on anything. And I told them I had another matter with Judge Simpson, and she said, "Well, too bad," basically, and set me up later down the road. And then the prosecutor asked me if he could go on vacation. I said, "Well, go on vacation." I don't, I mean.
Mr. Vermillion, is it a traffic related case?
And Judge Simpson, last week, my buddy was not here, which I used his phone for Zoom, and I tried to use mine. It wouldn't accept it. So by the time he got back here, I was 17 minutes late, but then I logged in and I seen someone talking to you, and then it went to the host will connect you in a minute or something similar to that. And I waited 45 minutes, and then finally I hung up and called the court, and they told me I had a warrant.
Mr. Vermillion, not to cut you off, but I will. In terms of,
go ahead.
What's the likelihood of you getting a license if the judge were to adjourn it, or do you wish to resolve it today, potentially resolving it?
If the judge could adjourn it, but the 27th I have to go to court, and now I think it's for a final settlement again.
That 27th of what?
Huh? Pardon me?
So you got to go to court in Saline.
Yes.
What day do you have to go?
The 27th of this month.
Of this month.
Yes, and I think they're going to try to do another pre-trial conference to try and get me to plea on something that I'm not pleading on.
Okay, I don't know what they're planning on, but you tell me you got a court date.
Yes. Yeah, they said my next court date, but they keep doing arraignments and plea bargains.
Okay, Eric,
I don't think it's going to be the trial.
Eric,
yes,
stay with me. Stay with me. What kind of case is that you have?
We're driving on a suspended, but it's not true. I wasn't even in the vehicle, and I got police footage and all that. So
Okay, all right. So I'm going to give you a chance to get all that together.
Okay.
And I'm going to adjourn this one to May 18th.
Okay. Now I don't think this is going to be a trial that they're setting me up for. I think they're trying to do another plea bargain deal. And I'm just going to tell the judge she needs to move on. Really, I mean,
you go right ahead and tell her that.
No, I wouldn't do that. No, yeah, I'd advise against that.
Okay, no. Oh, go ahead. She'll appreciate that.
They do.
Eric.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to suggest you do. You go over there, you try to figure out, you got an attorney over there?
I don't. I'm representing myself because.
Okay, well, Eric.
Okay, go ahead.
Eric, we've known each other for a long time, or at least you've been appearing before me for a long time. So here's the deal. I think the thing is, and I just know you, and I know Judge Freshour, and actually both of you are very good people, but I could see that conversation going south. So here's what I want you to do, Eric, because it'll make it easier, I think, for the judge, and it'll make it easier for you. Is you need to ask for a public defender over there.
But I had them, and they're one of them literally yelled at me and tried to belittle me and tried to accuse me for doing this. And
okay, I've never belittled you, but I've yelled at you before.
Yeah,
so
you can.
You should be used to that.
Yeah, but you know what? You didn't catch me this time.
Eric, don't talk over the judge.
Do this. Go over there and tell them you want an attorney. Okay? Because you trying to do it yourself is going to just end up bad.
Well,
I know it, Eric. I know it. Get an attorney over there.
I know too. They keep telling me to get one too, and I actually do have one. But
Eric, do you trust me?
Yes, the police officer though he didn't read.
Hold on, Eric.
We're not talking face.
Okay,
Eric, you trust me, right?
I do.
Then get an attorney.
I got one. I was going to cancel him, but I got one.
Get one over in the Saline Court. Okay.
Yes, I do have one.
I'm going to adjourn this out. We'll see you on May 18th. You make sure to go over there and get an attorney
I know. I
For
trust
the
you.
27th. Just
I'm
do
gonna keep my attorney. I trust you.
Eric, just do it.
I got it. I got one. I'm not gonna fire her now that you say that. So, yeah, I trust you, Judge Simpson.
All right. Then you get yourself over there with your attorney, and then you'll be all right. Okay?
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you May 18th.
Yes, sir.
All right. Take care. All right. Now let's see. Demetrius knows. All right.
Mr. Kriegel, Mr. Vermeulen is supposed to be here.
That is correct, Your Honor. And my understanding, he was going to be here in person, and that the public defender's office is in a standby assistant role.
It's not standby. You were appointed.
I apologize. I thought we were in the capacity continuing to assist him in the standby role.
No.
Yeah. So again, he's obviously here on Zoom. I apologize for that.
I understand that, but the prosecutor is here. Why isn't he here?
Only Mr. Vermeulen can address that. I do not know why he's not physically here when you said it in person.
Mr. Vermeulen, why aren't you in the courtroom? You're muted. We can't hear you.
Hello? Hello?
You're supposed to be here at the 14A4 district. Where are you?
Is it not going? I just unmuted it for you. You're not muted. Hello?
Mr. Vermeulen, you're supposed to be in person in court. Where are you?
In person.
It said in person. It said Zoom. Are you here?
We are at the 14A4 district court waiting for you.
Can you hear me, Your Honor?
I can hear you.
Oh, how come it says Zoom on my computer? Would you like to see it? It says, please sign in at the sign time shown above in the Zoom invite. On my computer right now. I can show it to you right now on my computer.
Mr. Vermeulen, you were ordered in court to appear back when you showed up here.
It says right here.
Mr. Vermeulen, back on March 17th, I made it clear that you wanted to file a motion. I appointed the public defender's office to represent you at that.
I have not heard from the
I
public.
appreciate that, but this was scheduled for an in-person docket. The prosecutor is here.
It doesn't say in person. It says right here, meeting Zoom. Right here. Would you like me to read you the whole thing? It says meeting Zoom. It doesn't say in person or anything. It says meeting Zoom. They gave me a Zoom number and everything. That's why I'm not in court.
So you didn't receive a Zoom invite from our staff. And when we were in court, I told you this was an in-person meeting. So I'm not sure where the confusion is, but if you're filing any motion,
on your computer,
they need to be in person. Are you able to get here, Mr. Vermeulen?
I can't today. I hadn't planned on it. I have no driver's license.
Mr. Kriegel, can you go into a breakout room with your client, and we need to figure out what's going on. This is supposed to be a motion. There's been nothing filed by your office. I'm very confused of what's going on. The prosecutor's here. Kind of a waste of time for him to come down here for nothing.
Absolutely, Your Honor. I agree.
Put the two of them into a breakout room, please.
Nobody's here. I should go. Maybe I should just go to court. You want to give me a ride? Well, hang on. I got to. Everything. Maybe I'm getting ready to talk to the judge. Why did you tell me that when I was way over the fuck over here? Well, I think you're in.
You right there? Okay. Case number 2140235, case number 2140236, case number 2140237, case number 2140238, case number 2140239, case number 2140421, case number 2140422, case number 2140423. These are all York Township versus Eric Vermeulen.
Good morning, Your Honor. Victor Lillick on behalf of York Township.
And good morning again, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Brian J. Craig on behalf of Mr. Eric Vermeulen. Sir, please unmute yourself and state your name for the record, please.
Eric Anthony Vermeulen.
Thank you. Your Honor, today's date and time set for a motion hearing in this case, and I apologize that I was unaware that we had moved out of the advisory role and or into the full.
Whenever in the advisory role.
I'm sorry, that was information was conveyed to me incorrectly by other members of the Public Defender's Office and staff, and I take responsibility for wasting the court's time. I do apologize that, and Mr. Lillick's time as well. If that were the case in preparation for today's hearing, we certainly would not be up for a motion hearing today. This appears to be a vestige and holdover of prior in terms of thoughts of what my client hoped to attain and hoped to do prior to representation from the Public Defender's Office. We'd ask this matter be set for a pretrial, and so that we can get up to speed and not waste the court's time. And if it would be preferable to be in person, we're happy to do so, to bring Mr. Vermeulen face to face with myself or either one of my colleagues.
So this is a case that had been pre-tried with your office, and ultimately back in November, he fired your office.
Okay.
Then he represented himself. We have set this for a final settlement conference now twice. And then on the 17th, he requested a defender, you were appointed, and now I feel like we're going in circles with these.
Yeah, and Your Honor, let me go ahead and pipe in here for just a second. This case has been set for jury trial a couple of times, and Mr. Vermeulen was not represented for a period. He didn't want the public defender to represent him. I was in communication with him. It was during those communications that I learned that he believed that he had a legal issue that he wanted to raise. And I indicated to the court that if he was going to raise a legal issue, we didn't want to do that in the middle of a jury trial. And that is when and how we ended up getting motion hearings and the public defender reappointed to the case. And I believe that was in March 17th or whenever that was, Your Honor. But so that's what really happened here. And I don't mind having it set for another pretrial. I have communicated with Mr. Vermeulen about what offers I would and I would not make. I've communicated that with the public defender when the public defender was previously appointed to the case. I haven't spoken to Mr. Crago about that, but be that as it may, Mr. Vermeulen seems to be well-intended, but fairly difficult to deal with. And his problem is, of course, is that he just doesn't have a license and he can't drive, and he still wants to live and get a license and basically drive and do what he wants to do without the privileges. And so that's who we're dealing with here. I'll leave it to the court's discretion as to what the court wants to do.
May I say something, Your Honor?
Mr. Crago, what is the plan?
I would ask, just like I said, if you wish to set it for a final settlement conference because of the age of the case, I would understand that.
Is there a motion that you're going to be, is there a legal issue that you're raising with your?
Based upon my conversations with my client, there is no meritorious legal issue to raise at a motion hearing. There's just not. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Litt. There's just not.
And I don't disagree with Mr. Crago. When I had the conversation with Mr. Vermeulen and I understood what I thought he was going to try to raise, I didn't think there was much merit to it either. But being the prosecutor, that was not. He was entitled to have somebody else represent him and basically come to the same conclusion if appropriate, frankly.
Yeah. And I've counseled my client as to why I believe that it is a meritless or frivolous motion.
Frivolous motion, my ass.
Excuse me, Mr. Vermeulen, you're still in court.
I thought I was muted. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that, Your Honor. Apologize. I'm not too good with these phones.
I'll adjourn it to a pre-trial, May 17th, 2022 at 11 a.m. That is plenty of time to figure out what we're doing with these cases. They are about a year old now.
Understood, Your Honor. Thank you so much for that consideration. And again, my apologies to both you and Mr. Lillick for wasting the court's time.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you, Judge. I guess I'm done here, so I'm gonna go ahead and head back to my office. All right, we good?
You are all set, Mr.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may I have a word with you?
I couldn't hear you. Could you say that again?
May I have a word with you, please?
Welcome to say something. You have an attorney representing you. You might want to consult with him.
Mr. Vermeulen, I would advise you don't talk about the case.
I'm just wondering about a speedy trial. We've had 4 arraignments now and 3 pre-trials going on the 4th.
Mr. Vermeulen, you're the reason that these have been delayed.
No, I have not. I have not asked for a public defender 1 iota, so that shouldn't be held on me. I've been to court every time. Now, me not being in court today was due to an error on your court.
No, Mr. Vermeulen.
Mr. Vermeulen, actually, I have the notice in front of me, and it clearly tells you it's an in-person hearing that you should be here. So it is not an error on our part.
Mr. Vermeulen, Mr. Vermeulen, we're not going to argue with the judge. If you have questions about,
I'm trying to make sense of things.
You're welcome to give me a call, and I will reach out to you when we're done in court today.
I think a speedy trial should have been done in order, and I don't think it's frivolous for a file a motion for the Miranda rights rule is frivolous.
I think you're confusing a few legal issues, but you have an attorney here that can probably help clarify those things for you. I will know that the court did adjourn this case 1 time on their own accord, and that was due to the coronavirus.
Yes, Mr. Vermeulen, we'll talk about your case, and you can decide how you wish to proceed with the assistance of the public defender's office. Absolutely.
I can't get hold of it.
So we will. Very good. We'll talk soon, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm done, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, that's not done yet. I just want to pop on the corner here because you guys are stressing me out. I really genuinely do not need you guys to send me money. And please don't. I get a salary. I'm literally, any money that I'm getting through the channel in the future is just to put more resources into the channel. So yeah, please don't feel obligated. I don't want it to come across like when I'm saying buy monetization, most of the time I'm joking because I'm not monetized yet. I'm not going to be for another, what did I say, 8 weeks. So yeah, please don't feel obligated. There are links, but there's a link in for Streamlabs or whatever that is. In my description, there's the coffee thing. I have PayPal, but I don't actually know if it's safe to share PayPal. I have no idea. If you want to and you can, that is okay. But please just know, YouTube does not in any way contribute to any of my income. So without it being monetized, nothing changes at all. I've been making zero. I've been making less than zero for years. I do it because I enjoy it. It's a hobby. If I wasn't doing this, I'd be putting money into books or something. It's all good. Probably should be putting money into books, but anyway. Mel, if you canceled Hulu and they still charged and it was on PayPal, you can. I don't know how to do Facebook Pay, Bug Dugger. I have no idea. Mel, if you swear, then I will bill you. So you can say like, I'll literally type it in the comments. You can say like, you can do like this. Oh, Josh, I didn't, but I'm going to keep playing because I think it's almost time for Recovery Addict. Someone just bought me a coffee. Ray, thank you. That's very kind. And please, just reiterating, please don't feel bad unless you swear, Mel, on purpose. Then, yeah. How much time do we have left? I think we're running out of time. YouTube, Recovery Addict, 15 minutes 58, and we have math 14. Okay.
Okay, case number 2140235, case number 2140236, case number 2140238, case number 2140239, case number 2140421, case number 2140422, case number 2140423. These are all York Township versus Eric Vermeulen.
And Victor Willett for York Township, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Brian J. Crago on behalf of Mr. Eric Vermeulen. Mr. Vermeulen, please unmute yourself, turn your video on, and state your name for the record, please.
Hello.
Sir, can you speak?
Yes, this is Eric Vermeulen.
Thank you.
Sure.
Your Honor, today's date and time set for pretrials in this case. I did reach out and speak to Mr. Vermeulen on the telephone, and at this time, he has again advised that he no longer wants to be represented by the Office of the Public Defender, and he wishes to move forward in pro per, and he terminated our conversation and ended it at that time, and that is the extent of the communications I've had with Mr. Vermeulen. Mr. Vermeulen, is that an accurate summary of our phone call?
Yes, sir.
We are back where we began, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Vermeulen, you had previously set this for a jury trial. Do you want to proceed on to that jury trial date?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Vermeulen, you are welcome to represent yourself in this case. However, you have to understand that you're going to be held to the same standard as any attorney. So I can't give you any advice during the trial, during jury selection, any of that. You're going to be on your own. You understand that?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
there are tickets that were received along with these other tickets that are not even popping up. And I wanted to fight them as well, but there's like that aren't even popping up, but they put me into default when I'm trying to fight them. And then they have tickets in the past. I can't get my driver's license for you guys because they have tickets that never that came up through, and then ones that are way back in 2013 that I don't have any warrants on that they say I still have to pay. So I can't.
I'm not sure if those were if you defaulted on some of those tickets. Those are civil infraction tickets. So just like traffic tickets, that just cost money.
But a civil infraction.
So sir, there's a different process for fighting those, but I don't have any of those in front of me. These are all the cases that we have under your name that are current.
Well, what do I do about these tickets that they just threw a default on me for no reason?
Well, sir,
I mean, there's 30 days later that
I can't speak to any of those because I don't have any of those files, so I'm not sure what happened in those cases. But that's
how
why,
can I bring them
Mr. Vermeulen, can I speak, please?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why we appointed the Public Defender's Office to help you sort through the files that you had.
And Your Honor, just for the record, I do remember in particular at least one of those cases in which we appeared, I appeared with my witnesses, and Mr. Vermeulen failed to appear, and so a default was entered at that time in that case. I don't have that information in front of me, but I do recall it, Your Honor.
So I'm going to set all of these for final settlement conference on August 9th, 2022 at 1 p.m. with jury selection August 12th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Mr. Vermeulen, the final settlement conference on August 9th is at the 14A4 District Court in Saline. That is an in-person hearing.
Okay, well, what happens at the final settlement? This is where we do voir dire?
Nope, that's the last opportunity to try to resolve your case. And
But ma'am, can we move on? Can we move on, please? Because it's been 5 times that we've been trying to resolve this case. I'd just like to move on if we can, because I have other court matters that I need to take care of before I can take care of them.
I understand, Mr. Vermeulen. At the final settlement conference, you'll need to submit your jury instructions and your witness list and any exhibit lists and any exhibits that you may be offering during trial. Those are all due at the final settlement conference date.
Okay, and under discovery, the prosecutor, I had asked him to give me some evidence of the police videos. He did give me 2 police cams. There's one more video that I need to get that I haven't got yet.
So, sir, you can make that request to him, not to me.
Okay, now I can do it now that I don't have a public defender. I can talk
Well, your public defender, I believe, made those requests already. And I'm sure Mr. Craig will pass along anything that he has to you.
Certainly, Your Honor, we can forward any and all documentation we have to Mr. Vermeulen moving forward. Mr. Vermeulen, you're welcome to call me back and I'll send it over to you via email.
I thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, sir, bond is continued in all these cases. We'll see you at the 14A4 District Court in Saline on August 9th at 1 p.m.
Thank you very much.
You're all set for today, sir.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Court calls the case of People versus Eric Vermeulen.
Eric Anthony Vermeulen.
Gotcha.
Your Honor, this is just a driving while license suspended. I know Mr. Vermeulen, we don't have updated contact information for him to get in contact with him. The number that is on file belongs to someone else. So I have not been able to reach him in regards to this case. So I'm unsure if he does have a valid driver's license at the moment.
He does not have a valid driver's license. Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Vermeulen.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'm not good with these phones. I don't have a valid driver's license, and I want to apologize to you and taking the court's time up, but I've done everything that I possibly could to this point to try and satisfy the court. I have other dealings with another court, and they're not letting me move on. They got me set up.
He muted. Eric, you muted. Eric, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, someone tried to call in and it's all making all this noise. I'm sorry. So I want to apologize for taking the court's time, and please understand I've done everything to satisfy the court, both courts, and now they have me set up for another final settlement. This is my 5th one, and I don't know why they are doing that.
What court are you in?
This is the Saline Court in Saline. I think it's 14.
Okay, okay, 14A4.
Okay.
Have the parties worked together to try to figure out what's going on at 4 as opposed and with this?
Yes, Your Honor. If I may, Assistant Public Defender Brian J. Craigo, I was representing at the time Mr. Vermeulen at 14A4 District Court before Judge Freshour, and he was before the court yesterday. He terminated the services of the Public Defender's Office. It's been multiple times where we've been appointed, we've been removed from the case, and this is the 3rd iteration. We were removed again at the request of Mr. Vermeulen. It was set for final settlement conference by Judge Freshour. I believe it will be for the August date. in which he is, again, terminated the services of the public defender.
Your Honor, the reason I've been terminating the services is because this is my case and I'm going to suffer or I'm going to not. And I feel that public defenders should work for me and they're trying to make my case for me. I asked them to file a motion and they did not. And they told me it's frivolous. Well, this is my case. I wanted them to file a motion. I feel it's not frivolous and I have other ways to get
Eric.
even talked about it.
Eric.
Yes, sir.
Look at his face.
How long have we been going around and around with each other?
Oh man, quite a bit.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
don't want to go around and around.
But
with you
just
this
listen.
time.
Just listen.
Okay.
So you wanted to file a motion.
Yes,
They were
sir.
telling you it was frivolous. You don't
Yes.
think it's frivolous, right?
No. Right.
So in all this, it's got to be almost 2 decades we've been dealing with each other.
Right.
So at what point during that time did you pick up your law degree?
I didn't. But you know,
I didn't think so.
honestly,
I didn't think you had.
I've been
Okay.
studying law for 2 years, believe it or not.
Eric.
Yes, sir.
What do you want me to do?
I want you to please adjourn the case, and I would say as far as 3 months out because
That's not
I know-
happening.
Well, I'll have to have 2 more dealings with the Saline Court, I believe, and I believe that would be a reasonable amount of time to take care of this because they set these about a month and a half out. I'd love to take care of business with you, Your Honor. Please understand, I'm keeping in touch with you, and if we just put it aside for
Eric, I can't do that. This case has been going
My
on.
mom showed me how to turn things up and stuff. You just turn this up.
Sure.
I don't know.
Perfect.
Oh, that's it.
Eric, you still there? Oh Lord. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do.
These phones. Can you hear me one more time?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, there you go.
All right, Eric.
But I don't know what to do. I mean, I've called, I've done everything, and it's just I have to get through this court case to get things solved out, and then maybe a little bit more.
Okay, Eric. Here's what I'm gonna do. You need to talk with your attorney on this
Yes,
case.
sir. You're kind of breaking up, but
Yeah, it's not me. But you need to talk with your attorneys on this case. Okay?
Right.
And figure out how you're gonna resolve it. I'm gonna give you till June 8th. You need to come back with a resolution on this.
June 8th. You know, I don't believe that's going to be ample time because I'm
Okay,
set out.
Eric.
I do want to comply with you.
Eric.
Yes, sir.
All right. Put your law degree away, talk to your attorneys, come back and see if you can get this resolved.
I'll talk to my attorneys and I hope they understand this is my case. And I have to
Eric.
Yes, sir.
They don't have to understand anything. You need to listen. This is what happened last time you got convicted. You started doing stuff on your own.
Right.
Yeah, back when you shot the 3 deer with 1 bullet. That was your whole defense, right? Remember?
I understand.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So how'd that work out for you?
That didn't work out very good.
Yeah, it did. It didn't work out
the
well
worst thing that
at
happened
all for you. So this is going to head the same way. You're
that was the worst thing that happened.
Eric, you're trying to resolve these driving while license suspended with that 1 bullet theory. Stop it. Listen to your attorneys.
I'll listen to them, but I hope
see
they
you,
please listen
Eric.
to me too.
I'm done.
Yes, sir.
I'll see you on the 8th.
Very good. I'll see you then. What date, time? The 8th of June, and the time is?
You'll get a notice with the time.
Okay, I'll follow up if I don't.
Usually that comes from your attorney. So you'll get it in this case. The 14-4 case, you may not. I don't know.
Okay. I understand. They tell you got to take care of your obligation. They don't need to remind you. So I don't understand. And I'll take care.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Your Honor. Have a good day.
All right.
And everybody else.
Yeah, too late, but thank you. All right. Let me
Too
try.
late.
I gotta get this arraignment out of my hand.
Oh, that's funny. That was such a good one. Oh, Eric. And Josh has sent me a part 2. So if we hop back on later, then we can watch the part 2. And then, depending on the time, go over to the 2-hour 35 police-related one. But RA is starting in 1 minute. So I will see you guys over there. I haven't figured out how to portal, so I'm sorry. You're going to have to just click the link in the pinned chat. Thank you, Raymondo, for the coffee. Appreciate it. And I've added all the links, but again, please, I promise, I pinky promise, like pinky promise. If I ever need help, I will tell you guys straight up. Okay. See you later. A manual raid. Yes, we're all going to go in and we're going to say it's a Mac raid. All right. See you later. Bye. Thanks, mods. You guys are awesome.